he at? Dog pound, turn up with the elf up on my starter cap. Brought him back, boy, we from the land and we proud of that. Louder man, front to the back, here we go, I got him shouting that. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Let's go. Game on the line, Joe Thomas, I promise. Jim Brown running through opponents, how I got this. I return like Josh Cripps. Paying for the mini, got the dog pound jumping. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Stand up. Here we go, brownies. Let's go.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the National Football High School Hall of Fame in downtown Canton, Ohio. This is the third annual induction of these guys that are going in. We're honored and humbled to have the Marcus Dupree joining us here at the DoubleTree in downtown Canton, Ohio. So first and foremost, I know Russell Johnson really well. We've become good friends. Saw you at the Guardians game, doing a little some action down there, having some fun.
I was trying to give me a one-day contract. I don't know if it worked out.
Yeah, it was really fun to see you kind of obviously back in Ohio. You have a really amazing award that you're going to be giving away this year.
Yes.
This is the first year of that. Tell our audience what that's all about.
Well, I just think, let me say this, I'm thankful to God that I'm alive to be able to present it, but it's kind of like the Heisman Trophy for high school kids, and so I'm honored that they picked me, and like I said, I'm honored that I'm still alive to be able to present the first one, and that's the Player of the Year award to the best player of high school. So I'm looking forward to seeing the kid. I heard he signed with Ohio State. We could have went to Oklahoma, but that's okay. But I'm looking forward to it.
Well, little story you don't know about me, but I'm from UCI.
Oh,
and there might have been a game against the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, don't remind me.
But Oklahoma, though, you're right. They are Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
I mean, a lot of these guys that a lot of great athletes have come out of Oklahoma.
Jalen Hurts came through there. Yep. Kyler Murray. The list can just keep going on and on. Adrian Peterson, Billy Sims, Greg Pruitt, who lives up in
good friends with Greg Pruitt.
Awesome.
Do it Pruitt, as I like to say.
That's it.
Tear away jersey.
Yeah, that was the good days. They banned them after my senior year. So in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So tell us, why being a part of the National Football High School and why it's so important to you and why you feel so connected with coming back and being a part of this.
Well, just first of all, good people, and it's a good honor for kids who played in high school. And then you come back and you got the NFL Hall of Fame here. Then you have the National High School Hall of Fame, which when you say Canton, Ohio, you think about Hall of Fame. And so it's just an honor to come back and be around good people, be around great athletes, and it's just such a good thing.
So people that haven't seen you in a while, what have you been up to?
Well, in the last 2 years, I've done 2 movies. No, not 2 movies, 10 movies. And I just got word from my lawyer today that someone's going to be doing a movie on me starting here any month.
That's kind of humbling, right?
Pretty much. So
you get to pick the guy that.
I'm sure I will. I'm going to be the executive producer. And also, we've been working on the title before we even signed the contract. But I kind of like the burden of greatness. So I think that would blow off for everybody. People won't forget that one.
Right. So talk about your professional life in football, high school, how that transcended to people that, tell us a little bit about, you the person that people.
Well, just, I come up in a small town in Philadelphia, Mississippi. At that time, probably only 5,000 people. Just seeing my mom, my grandparents, and all my friends' moms, they worked hard to get to what they wanted. And just, as growing up as kids, being in Boy Scout and Cub Scout, and with all my friends, we just made a pact with each other that, whoever makes it out of here, we all make it. And we just worked hard and played together every game. And being in high school, we knew how each other's mindset was playing the game. And we worked hard at it. And all we want to do is just make it where our moms didn't have to pay for us to go to school.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So it's like a fraternity, you know. We talk about like Oklahoma, right? Like there's guys you make friends forever. Eric Metcalf comes on our show, you know, Texas, right? That's a big time rivalry. And you keep those friends for life, right? Who's somebody that you respect, honor, and admire that you still to this day, or, you know, friends, you're in the text thread, you know, who's somebody that from when you were at Oklahoma that
Well, we didn't play against each other, but I got to be friends through recruiting with Earl Campbell.
oh wow.
And so we stayed in contact. He was one of my idols growing up, but now we're best of friends. And I stayed in contact with him. He stayed in contact with me. And that's one of the main guys, like I said, Earl Campbell, but he played for Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a thing of respect, right? At the end of the day, when you think about that, it's like you respect your opponents. And I remember this. It's an old Jim Brown, and he was talking about like the first game or the playoff game, the national championship game for the NFL. And he mentioned there was bad money. And what was interesting was that I took away from that interview with Jim Brown was he goes, I wish it was better weather because these are two great teams who we want to be able to see
The greatness between both.
on the field. Because I don't want bad weather to diminish us great players that people really want to see at the end of the day. So I thought that was very interesting that he would be in a moment where he could be all about him or whatever, but he stepped back and said, this is a bigger thing. It's a greater thing because these are the elite of elite athletes, and I want to make sure that these guys on the field can do that. So, well, I appreciate you giving us a few minutes today. And
Anytime.
I'll be seeing a lot of you tomorrow. Guys, by the way, he will be tomorrow doing an autograph session at Belgian Village, noon to 1. He's going to be doing some autographs for some folks, which is going to be really cool and doing some stuff. But if you guys have not been, there's still tickets available for the ceremony tomorrow night at Canton McKinley High School, third annual. Kind of cool to see the alumni come back to this as well. And I know you'll get to see some people that have been inducted in the
I
past.
said we didn't get Jim Brown to live long enough to get in with us.
Could you imagine?
I was ready to meet him, but things happen.
Last year, I went to this, it was last year, maybe the year before, his eulogy. And the men that I sat in the room with, the Ray Lewis, the Stephen Smith, to see these guys and their respect to him, just give you like, just chill, you know, that just to see those guys, that running back class, just coming there to honor because that's who they tried to emulate. You think, wow, Smith looked up to Jim Brown and those people that came before him. But it was really cool to see that they all came back. But you're right. I wish I could have been in the room, right?
Exactly.
But that's why they named the greatest running back in NFL after him, right?
Yeah, so, that's true. That's true.
Marcus, I appreciate it. It's an honor. I'll see you all this weekend, guys. Marcus Dupree, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
I think they're just kind of shuffling you around. So, guys, like I said, we're down here at the National Football High School Hall of Fame. Let's give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors that's helping us out. Hang on one second.
SOS, I could use a hero right about now. My faith in love is upside down. H-E-R-O, where will we all go? SOS, I could use a hero right about now.
Mr. Hero's turning 60. We're proud to have served your favorite cravings for 60 years in celebrating what we do best. Thanks, Ohio.
I crave a hero.
Guys, we are still down here live at the National Football High School Hall of Fame in downtown Canton, Ohio. As we wait for some of these amazing other athletes, some of the guys that are going to be inducted this weekend are, of course, Frank Menafield, Top Dog, Jeffrey Dixon, Eric Metcalf, just to name a few that are going to be inducted this weekend. Craig James will be joining us here in a few moments. It's just a really, really great weekend. If you guys can attend tomorrow, and if you guys are able to come, the ceremony will be at 6:00 at Canton McKinley High School. Tickets are only $25 if you can come down here and actually make it to the event. It's really, really worthwhile cost. Like I said, this is the third annual National Football High School Hall of Fame. that is down here in Canton, Ohio. But if you guys have never, the whole purpose behind this is, there is the Pro Football Hall of Fame that is in obviously Canton, Ohio, the birthplace of the NFL. But the National Football High School Hall of Fame was created specifically, and the reason for that is to really highlight what these kids did outside of professional football, college football, what they did in regards to high school and what they meant to their high school teams and what they did in their communities. So it is really interesting how they are now really focusing on these kids. I was actually able to be a part of a kids camp. This year they added actually a kids camp. The kids can come down for free, actually be a part of the actual induction, the actual ceremony where these kids can come in and do a free camp, which is really, really cool. So that is really interesting that we're able to actually do that and have some fun with these kids. They can interact with Stump Mitchell. As you know, he has the Stump Talk podcast on A&D Media with us. He was out there with Hanford Dixon today. So that was a lot of fun to take in and be with those kids and be able to. So from this year going forward, they're going to have this camp where these kids can have a free camp, learn from the veterans, and do some really, really cool stuff with these kids that can be a part of and be influenced by this. But what we're going to do is we're going to bring over Ray Showdog. Hey, Ray, you want to step in real quick and say a few words to the audience? So you guys, as you know, Ray Showdog actually has had a podcast now for, 3 weeks now? 4 weeks now, under the A&D Media. So we've had him on. He's running around helping today, but super fan addicts podcast. He's got his car out there, so he's kind of double duty, making sure people aren't sitting in the car, wanting to touch it.
Starting to rain.
Always starting to rain.
Well, somebody told me, and I ran out there, but
Yeah, so, as you know, Ray obviously got inducted into the 2021 National the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a fan. As a fan with 11 or 12 years.
it's 12 total. 12 total.
There was a dozen that went in, so he actually has a whole exhibit that talks about that experience and stuff at the Hall of Fame. But we're just kind of in a little bit of an idle here, just waiting for another inductee to come in. So we're just.
I see one coming.
All right, we'll go back. All right, good guys. What we got coming up now? So yeah, we're sorry guys, we're just getting another guy. We're kind of, it's like a radio row here, so we're just trying to get another guy. So we're just trying to get another guest over here, but we're trying to just get some other folks in. So what we're doing here is, as the inductees come in, we're trying to have them come over and do the radio row. So just getting back to Ray, his podcast. So he obviously does our Super Fan podcast that started about 4 weeks ago under A&D Media. But we're just getting some of these guys. But here's our next guest. Who we have here? Your name's Cornelius Green. Oh my gosh, guys, Cornelius Green. As soon as he said the name, I just. So, guys, Cornelius Green is here. Look at this. We're in the Ohio State Buckeyes. He's in good company here down in these parts, obviously. Being inducted this year, pretty excited, right?
I'm over excited now. We did it work for something that was done 50 years ago, and I'm 71 right now. And
You look great, by the way.
thank you. This is probably one of the hugest honors I've ever received.
So, Cornelius, so we were talking about this. You have the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you have the College Football Hall of Fame, and there seemed to be just this void to really celebrate what kids and what they did for their communities in high school and what they meant to their towns and into their community. And I really think it's really cool now to go back and look at some of those guys that, maybe didn't have, some of these guys had illustrious college careers or maybe even NFL, but really focus on what they did in high school. Because some of the greatest athletes in college, we always talk about 2% make the NFL, right? So it's interesting that, sometimes the greatest don't go on to play professionally.
Well, for me, went to Ohio State from Dunbar, especially back 50 years ago, you didn't have the phones. We didn't have all these
No
communications.
social media.
No social media at all.
You've seen it all, by the way.
Yes, I mean, for someone in Ohio, hear about me in Washington, D.C. area, was huge. And so Woody Hayes had hired Rudy Hubbard as the backup coach. And his territory was the East Coast.
Oh, interesting.
So he subscribed to the Washington Post. So he just did the same paper when we played on Friday. So
And saw the stat lines. Okay.
I mean, every week I was in the paper quite a bit. So
Like
that's
this
how I
kid
got
must be
now.
all right. Nice, nice. So I had Marcus Dupree on. We're talking about this. It's kind of like a fraternity, right?
Yes.
Looking back at your illustrious career in college and stuff like that, who have you stayed close with? He brought up an interesting thing like Earl Campbell, even though he was at the University of Texas, he became really good friends, even though but it was a respect thing, right? So he was just saying that, he's become lifelong dear friends with Earl Campbell. Back to college and beyond. That you're like, texting back and forth, like, what are you doing today?
Well, it would always be for me, would be our wow. This kid's got calls and his kids got calls.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so when we went to Ohio State, we only had 3 African Americans in our class in 1972. And we only had 500 African American students at the 50,000. At Ohio State 500.
50,000.
Yeah, we're half a percent of the student
That
body.
is incredible.
Yeah,
We can think that now, right? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and so being the first African American quarterback at Ohio State,
Well, you're a trendsetter.
yeah, I mean, I was, and
Well, I think
to beat that,
I think of Marilyn Motley. Like those kind of things come to mind. Like, Marilyn Motley was that trendsetter like yourself.
but being the first American quarterback was a difference. It's totally different because now you're in the leadership position. And was Ohio State ready for African American quarterback? You look back at 1890 with the first team. You're talking about 1972, they never had African American quarterback.
It's 80 years.
Yeah, it's 80 years. So
crazy.
yeah, so I mean, when you look at it from that perspective, you can see the challenges that I was under.
So it's interesting you say that because Eric Metcalf played for us, and he taught me a very valuable lesson. Those people, for whatever reason, go to a different level than an African American quarterback.
Right.
And they always have, and he goes, even to this day, to a certain extent, they do that.
Right.
And he said, like, even Doug Williams, like when you look at these guys that actually ended up doing it at the national football level, to see that is it's dumb. But you know what I'm saying? But it's interesting that he goes, you're just judged different. And it's
Yeah.
like, even though you have the skill set, you have all those things.
Well, I mean, at quarterback, you're in a leadership position.
Right.
You got to be a leader. You got to be trustworthy, things like that. Even in '72, it's embarrassing to say that the folk prior to '72 didn't think African Americans could remember the plays and things like that. I mean, just mind-boggling.
Well, that was the
Stereotype.
That was the stereotype.
That was the stereotype.
Well, quarterback can't be smart enough to know all the playbook, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we had to dispel those rumors. And when I was at Ohio State, I was getting 50, 60 letters a week from the family. Yeah. I mean, that's a problem. Yeah. At 18, when you go into college, you just want to.
You don't even think that. It's funny. So I
Never even crossed my mind that something like that was.
So I grew up in Idaho. My dad spoke. He was Vietnam War. He didn't go overseas, but he was stationed in Fort Polk, Louisiana. And he said that was so eye-opening to him in the '60s to go down there from being in Idaho, like how crazy it was. He's like, I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And so it was interesting when you talk to these guys, how far we've come, to where that you're like, why did it take 80 years? That's
And change and time does change.
and heals.
And heals.
Right.
And I think at Ohio State for us, what propelled us is that we played in 4 Rose Bowls, 4 straight Rose Bowls. So when Ohio State was presented nationally, you saw me, Pete, and all African American background. I think that changed the consciousness all around the world in regards to Ohio State.
So you still talk to Archie, obviously.
We're still best friends. He's my kid's godfather, and I'm his kid's godfather.
So what do you think of his grandson?
Well, who we talking about? The one that's playing for Ohio State now?
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm so happy for him. Gets a national championship ring. Archie's son Andre, and so that's Andre's son. So
Right.
Andre is my godson.
Right.
So yeah, I'm so proud of him, and Andre played for Ohio State as well, and he's now coaching. So yeah, it's
So, you know, I grew up a Boise State fan. I lived in, so, you know, what do you call home now?
Washington D.C.
Because you're in the D.C. area.
Yes.
I think Josh Cribbs, he's from the D.C. area.
Matter of fact, Josh went to my high school.
Really?
Yes.
That is
From
really
Dunbar. He's
Okay.
from Dunbar. He's from my high school.
nice. So, it's interesting now coming here and the craziness of Ohio State fans, right? Like I knew about it. I understand it. Were you able to come out to any of the playoff games? Were you able to do any of these, you know, go on the road?
Yeah, I went to 4 games this year.
All playoff games? Or
I didn't make it. Yes, I did. I went to Rose Bowl when we beat Oregon. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I hadn't been back out there for a while. I got inducted Rose Bowl Hall of Fame.
Kind of cool to be back in there. I was in the same. Because I mean, that's a pretty hollow.
It is unbelievable to go to the Rose Bowl, sit in the stadium, look all around, say, "Wow, I played 4 times up there."
Right. On that same field.
On that same field.
Right. It's kind of like,
And was honored be the MVP my sophomore year.
so you went to that game. So you judge quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
You have the eye test. So let me ask you this. Let's say first time in 25, 26 years. A very unique situation. You've got Joe Flacco, you know, veteran, won a Super Bowl. You've got Shador Sanders. You got Dylan Gabriel, quarterback at Oregon. And you got Kenny Pickett. For the first time being a Browns fan, I can't remember there being a true quarterback competition. Like literally any of those guys technically could make it.
Right.
Have you paid any attention to it?
Yes,
and then
I have.
I'm curious on Dylan Gabriel because you got to see him, you know.
I think Dylan's a great quarterback. You know, obviously I'm favoring Shador a little more than Dylan. I just thought he's got to get the stay after the draft. I thought he should be the first round. He's going to have to work hard, but I think the Browns are going to be really happy with what they have in the season.
So you know what I said? Like they took something. It's weird, right? Because they take Dylan Gabriel in third. I heard the Dolphins won it. So that they got rid of their third round pick because they were same Tua, right? Same to the offense. Just like the Browns think with he hits. It's like because I'm like, I think you hear Deontay. You being in the first African American quarterback at Ohio State. I think Deion and Shador had that same stereotype thing happening before our eyes. And I think the NFL was a little embarrassed. Like, there's no way 5 quarterbacks were better than Shador. It's just, I'm saying about it's happening, right?
No, I think that was all understand.
But it's
Correct.
it's just
And that was so unfair for that kid.
right.
Because I know what it's like draft day. I didn't get drafted the first day. I got drafted the second day.
And you're sitting there and you're
You're
wondering.
sitting there, you're wondering, and all your friends are calling, you got friends over. Everybody want to congratulate you, waiting for the call, and it never happens. That first day is good. I know that experience, so I had not 100, but quite a few of my friends over want to congratulate me, and they all had to go home that night. They get that call. So yeah, it's a tough thing to experience.
So obviously you've got to meet a lot of the coaches at Ohio State. Urban Meyer, Jim Tressel, obviously Ryan Day, all those guys. Tell me a little bit about that, because I feel like walking into those shallow doors, there's a lot of pressure, right? Like, you win at Ohio State, right? Mediocrity is not an option. And oh, by the way, if you don't beat Michigan, we're really going to be banging on your door, right?
Yeah.
So, Talk to me a little bit about that relationship you had with the coaches over the years, because you've met them all, right? And now one of them's our for the lieutenant governor.
It's tough between Urban and Trust because they both love me because I was like their idol quarterback.
Sure.
I'm just so glad that we had both of them as a coach for Ohio State. I think Woody put a lot of him in the Urban. I think he put a lot of him in the Jim Trusson. And I think Urban and Jim passed that along to our present coach that we have now. We're very fortunate to have. I think they were ahead of their time in terms of when they came to Ohio State. That's why they were hired. Even Ryan Day now is way ahead of his time with his play calling. I think that's why he was hired here.
Urban's going to be just fine. Ryan Day's ready to go.
I mean, he's a genius. I mean, from the offensive standpoint, and it seems like all of our coaches have been offensive minded.
Right.
Versus being hiring that defensive coach. We've always hired a coordinator, a defensive guy. Didn't seem like we hired him as a head coach.
It's funny because as a young guy, I saw Boy State go up against the 1AA championship against Youngstown State. Guess who the head coach was? Jim Trusson.
Yes, right.
And they won that national championship against Boy State. So you already saw him at that 1AA level. He was that guy that was being innovative at that level. And then said, he's the next. And
what else he got when he was hired? First thing he talked about was playing school up north. I think after he said, wave to the crowd, said, hey, let's get ready for our game against the school up north. And I'm, talking about the school up north, I'm 3-1 against him. I'm 3-1 against the school up.
So you're technically never
And that tie game was really strange too because we was number 1 in the nation, they were number 4 in the nation, then we tied. They had to have a vote for us to go to the vote. Yeah,
all the riders that we had to vote.
Yeah. So we ended up winning the vote and went to the Rose Bowl. So we always say the best team because we ended up winning the Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowl. I mean, back then, if you got to the Rose Bowl, that was the epitome of great experience. Right. Let me ask you about this. So, the NCAA just, that ruling just came out for the players being paid. We didn't know that. And there's some interesting feelings about how we should go about doing things at the collegiate level. There's because you have the Ohio State of the world, and you have the Boise State of the world. They're great teams, but monetarily they just can't be there. Do you think what do you think about a salary cap in college football? You think that would be kind of solved? Because you have one in the NFL, right?
I think right now, I think a salary cap's going to be not on the table for a while.
Okay.
Because I think they're just starting. Now you're seeing Smith getting this huge deal that he got. And I just think these NIL deals are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. At some point, like you said, they're probably going to have to put a cap on it.
Because you'll have to have it.
Yes, right. I don't see that anytime soon.
It's interesting. State, and they're looking at everybody to invest in the football program. Because that's to kind of, how do we get to be able to get a player here so we can make these private equity firms money up? Because we see it as,
But look at our in NIL deal that we had back in the 70s. We got $9 check for laundry every 3 months. A $9 check.
$3 a month. That equates to 75 cents a week, I think. That is
unbelievable. Yes, it is.
Yeah, and now they're getting.
Yes, I mean, and think about it. We couldn't even afford our own jerseys. I mean, people were wearing our jerseys, and we didn't even have one ourselves.
That's crazy. It's interesting. Like speaking of that, you're seeing dropping in the fifth round. $4.4 million was his contract. Like he probably made more in college with his endorsements and all of his all that stuff.
That'd be amazing. He's the only one that went to the NFL that got a pay cut.
Right? Yeah, crazy.
Yes, it is.
Hey, I appreciate So if you guys want to,
Okay.
hey, it's an honor.
My pleasure.
I'd love to have
Thank
you
you so
on again
much.
sometime.
Anytime.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, you're royalty.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Well, guys, Ohio State Buckeyes legend Cornelius Green. That was really awesome. We'll have some more people coming in here. Andre Smith. Andre, come on in, boss.
Yes, sir.
So this is the Here We Go Brownies podcast.
Okay,
So you go live. Nice to meet you. Come on
Sure.
in. So obviously you're excited to be a part of the production here
Absolutely.
in Ohio. So first and foremost, tell our audience where you're from.
Yeah. Cleveland, Ohio, attended Cleveland John F. Kennedy High School.
Yep. So you're looking at.
Yeah, class of 81.
So obviously, you know these parts pretty well. What's this mean to be inducted, and be a part of this class? What's happening? We're talking about this is the third annual induction class, and there was kind of a void for, we honor the collegiate guy, the guy at the NFL level. There just was this void of high school. And I was just talking to Cornelius, and some of these guys are the greatest high school players on their state, but they never maybe play at the next level, but they've been the best ever at their high school. And there just was this void. So tell us what this means to you, your family, and stuff. But just tell us, a little bit about you and what this means to you.
It's tremendous. When I got the telephone call, I said, "Hey, you're going to be inducted." I'm like, "Okay, all right, just a joke, And they're like, "No, what's real? You're going to be here." And so I attended the press conference. But when they submitted the list of the inductees,
Right, you're like,
yeah.
there was royalty.
Everybody tells themselves they're the greatest piece of peanut butter. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the thing is to actually, in paper, in the moment, see your name with these superstars. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible feeling. I didn't have the accolades that they had, but what they say, some individuals saw me play, and I'm here.
Yeah.
Not to say I was no slouch in high school. I was a baller.
Yeah, I was just saying, it's interesting you bring that up. Just me doing my research. There's been a lot of great football players come out of Cleveland.
Absolutely.
And I mean, out of the high schools of Cleveland. Like, when you look at some of those guys, and then like the high school that Steve Harvey went to. I'm trying to think of the high school. But, it's like Cleveland. I'm trying to think of the high school.
I think it was East High.
Yeah. Which is no longer a high school, right? Yeah. But you see all these athletes coming out of Ohio, right? And Cleveland specifically. What was it like playing against some of those other high schools? Because I feel like Texas.
It's funny you should ask that, because back then every high school had a rival in the set. So our rival was John Adams.
Oh yeah.
And so basically, when I was there, we had the segregation in the 80s. And so I was a part of that first class to get bused with John Marshall. And so all my buddies I grew up with playing semi football with, they're all over there. I was fortunate to be able to stay at Kennedy. So you have to realize, within our own neighborhood, we had a new rival.
That's crazy, right?
It is.
Yeah.
So eventually, when we played each other, it was like, we're going to beat you guys, we're going to get you guys. When we finally
You got me in the backyard, but you're not
hey, man, we beat them. But, and after that, it was kind of like, what I'm saying? The novelty was gone. We all went on the rest with the school and everything. And but up to that moment, what I'm saying? It was,
But you see, you bring up some good news, because that's our Cornelius. He got really good. He was the first. And he said, everybody looks through him through a different lens because it's leadership thing. And I said it's just really interesting how we far we've come as a country in a lot of ways to where we were. And today we're like, this is a thing. How is that a thing, right? And the way we separate people and do that now, just when we talk about why would the people from lenses? Talent should always supersede everything.
but it wasn't always like that.
Right, but that's
So
it's crazy that we.
It's one of the reasons I went to Central State University because I was traveling to a lot of D1 schools, and they were telling me about the politics, the booster clubs, and all that little stuff. And said, hey,
You were like,
you don't want to be here. And then you're like, I had a bitter taste in my mouth about the segregation. So that's why I went to an HBCU.
Right.
Not that I couldn't play at that level. I chose to take my talent there. And you have to realize, it's in the pudding. We played in the 1983 national championship against North Dakota State. But you got to realize, you got to have talent on the field. And you feel like we didn't have the same facilities they had.
of course.
Our first game was against Southwest Texas State, two-time defending Division II champion.
Right.
We took the tour of their weight room, knowledge. They had a whole row of knowledge. Pull-ups on hot water, they had loose weights. But we beat it because of talent, determination, and discipline.
Right. Well, talent always beats talent, right?
Yeah.
If you have better players in the field, nutrition, great workout rooms and all that, it's a thing. But you're right, talent will always beat.
So
will always.
high school, you see that, but like I said, look at the segregation. I mean, a lot of folks keep private schools, but they got organized. And the disappointing part of it, they didn't get all of it. A lot of them didn't want to do that early bus ride, be there late at night, and they didn't. And which is so disappointing, and they're very talented. So I think that I was able to avoid that, but not even think
I'm excited to hear the guy, right? So you get to rub elbows with some of these guys, so obviously guys that you watch, that's the man, right? So it'll be interesting to watch you guys. Yeah, right. So it'll be interesting for you to be able to interact with these guys.
Actually, first minute. Yeah, I said, you ain't got to tell me who you are. You're Mr. Dog Pound, buddy. And I said, I belong to this, they got Brown backers clubs everywhere. Okay, so I'm a member of the Browns of Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so when they see a picture of me with him, you know what I'm saying? They're going to flip their lid. Even Frank Minute, I got to get one.
Well, so, what people don't realize, and you know this as well, Hanford Dixon and Frank Minifield are considered the number 2 all-time cornerback duo of all time.
Absolutely.
Nobody, they were shut down corners. Those two guys.
And the only guy that remotely get that kind of credit is Deion Sanders.
Correct. Yeah. So why is Hanford not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, right? Or those guys, right?
And I got a couple of guys that I feel should be there.
Clay Matthews, right?
Yeah.
And where are these guys? I think all of a sudden you'll see that these senior class guys get in because we're like, all right, they won a Super Bowl. We got to get some of their guys in. Hey, I appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you.
Enjoy your time, guys, and have fun. I'll be around with you a lot this weekend. So, all right. Yeah.
Now, hey, hold on. That camera's off.
No, it's on. Oh, it's live. We're live.
I just want to make a comment to you.
Okay.
I got one more thing to say. Water. You know that water. You should have said that could be. I got one more for you, Zach Washington.
What's that?
I got one more for you, Zach Washington.
Okay, great.
And you will be in the press room.
So, guys, we're just waiting for Zach to come over here and do an interview. He'll be over here. Again, we are here live at the National Football High School Hall of Fame in downtown Canton, Ohio. Great to see these guys here in the room. By the way, guys, if you guys can make the actual inductee tomorrow at Canton McKinley High School, you can see these guys tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. But we have another guy coming on right now. Washington? Zach Washington. Zach, come on in.
All right.
Thanks for joining here to go around this podcast.
All right. Thank you.
So, guys, Zach Washington is joining us. Another inductee.
My father.
father, right?
Right.
Zach Washington, third annual National Football High School Hall of Fame. We were just talking about how there's been this movement for years. And we celebrate the NFL pros and the college pros. And high school kind of had a void. And kind of the theme that I've told people is interesting. Like, at one point, some 14% became it, right? It's exactly. But you know, the greatest of all time high school player in your state, there's like 40 something. Right? So, tell us a little about and, you know, being here to induct and be a part of this, what this means to you.
First of all, I'd just like to thank for the induction of my father into this. It's truly an outstanding recognition for him. I am so glad to be here as a part of my family. I have three siblings, so all four of us were able to make it from different parts of the country. Two came in from.
Where do you fall?
My home is right outside Detroit, Farmington Hills, Michigan.
We drive.
I did drive there this morning, yeah. And then my
5-hour drive.
yes, I have a sister that lives in Detroit as well, Laurie, older sister Sheila, and brother George that live in Atlanta. So when the call was received and it was planning, we all merged and was able to come, and we wanted to be a part of it, and not just Zach, but the entire sibling family. Yeah.
It's like it's honoring your father, right?
Well,
it's his legacy.
It is. And what we're trying to convey is that's what he instilled in us as family. So in addition to the athletic accomplishments and success, it's all about family. So we embrace each other. Successes. We're there when there's non-successes, but it's just a part of life.
You can be a millionaire or have no money. All you have is your memories and your family in you.
Well said.
I mean, that's all you have.
Well
leave
said.
this place.
That's it.
And we say, Father times undefeated. When we leave this place, we have our memories and our family.
Yes.
So, for folks that may not know a little bit about your dad, tell us about your dad, his career, his high school years, and what he meant to you, and why he was obviously a role model to you.
Well, first of all, when you think back, his high school was in the late 40s or early 50s. To be recognized at that time as a young black man being selected in a majority high school as the class president his junior and senior year, that speaks volume of his integrity as an individual, his character, etc. So, you know, he went off to college and played a couple years. He served in the Korean conflict, so he gave back to the community, gave back to the country, and exactly. But you know, the bigger thing as that I remember so much, the athletic piece. He was always there as far as the teach, the coach. You know, any athletic endeavors that any one of the kids decided to participate in, he was there. To show you his dedication and commitment, where he worked at General Tire, he rotated shifts, 3 to 11, 11 to 7, and 7 to 3 each week. So 1 week 3 to 11, 1 week 7 to 11, 1 week 8 to 3.
Week, he was back.
He was back on the rotation. He would do doubles or trade to watch me and my brother play football. So his commitment to family, my sisters were in band. So when they had their events, he did the same thing. He would double. He played. My brother, his senior year, my senior year, he went to school over in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I went to Indiana State. So my freshman year, I did. I was a running back in Indiana State. Yeah. So my freshman year, his senior year, he would literally each week, the way the schedule worked out, when my brother played at home, I played away. So literally, my dad every week was going east and west, him and my mom. So just that type of commitment to family.
Sounds like you needed some General Tires on those.
Exactly. But, you know, you talking about instilling values in me. As I saw what he did to me, when I looked, that was the first thing before my game. Where's my mom? Where's my dad at? So
right there.
I was good to go. I was there, and I embraced that and did the same thing with my son.
So where do you fall?
I'm older sister Sheila, brother George, me, and then younger sister Laura. Right.
So, speaking of your dad and being that role model for his country, for his family, what was, if you could look at one memory of your dad, like, you talk about the sports, the band. Obviously, I can just tell by your character, he instilled a lot in you as a human being. What's the one thing? Like my mom's passed away, and people will always say the one trait you got from your mom, and it's a hard one to have. My mom would always say, "I met you today. I just met you
Right.
today. I'm going to judge you from this moment on for the rest of your life. I didn't know your past. I didn't know anything about you, so I'm not going to judge any of that. I'm going to judge you from today because I know.
Right.
I can't judge you because you were part of my life. You're like, you have that rare thing to do that because it's hard, right? Right. You hear something about something, like, it's not me. I didn't know. That was something that you could think back and say, that I got from my dad. That was the one thing that he instilled.
I think the one thing is treating people fairly, embracing those that I come in contact with, not knowing anything about them, but being equal, willing to shake a hand, introduce myself to them, embrace them, make them feel good about themselves as well as they feel good about me. So it's about, not what I have in my pocket, but what's in my heart. And I think I got that trait, that characteristic from my father.
Yeah, treat people fairly and equally.
Treat them as you want to be treated.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter if you have $1 million or 2 cents in your pocket.
Right.
You're still just.
We put them on one leg at a time.
It's funny you said. I use that analogy all the time. Like, I'm in media, music stars. And I'm like, remember, he puts his pants on just like we do. And you'll see people walk up and they kind of have this, like, they don't know how to respond to that person. I'm like, just like you and I, he's just really good at music. Or he just happens to be the president or whatever. Like,
whatever it is.
He's still a human being at the end of the day. And he probably would appreciate if you just treat him as a human that he is, instead of looking at him the way everybody else looks at him.
Drop the name just as an individual. Right. We are the same.
Nice. Well, I'll be around you a lot this weekend. I'm looking forward to the induction ceremony.
Thank you for the opportunity to share.
Yeah.
And again, one thing, if I can leave it, is it's about family. So the siblings and my wife, Kim, we're here collectively together. And that's what's about.
You're the one giving the speech?
I don't know about it. Yes. If there is a speech,
there's a 3-minute that everybody kind of goes up there and can, honor your father or whatever. There'll be a time where the family member or the inductee.
Okay,
So maybe I just gave you a little that you didn't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, and maybe I'll pass share the wealth with my older brother. Yeah, George. So we'll figure it out. But we'll be ready whatever that opportunity
So it'd be
is.
fun to go up there and speak a little bit of this. The people that weren't able to attend tonight to see that.
Excellent.
Awesome. Hey, I
Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Have a great time and enjoy the other.
Will do.
Who's coming? You want to get Lamont?
Lamont?
Good. How you?
All right.
Good to see you. Well, this guy doesn't need any introduction. This is obviously Lamont. I came to this last year. It was my first year being a part of the National Football High School Hall of Fame. And we talked about, some of these others. There's kind of been a theme that's kind of hit with me with some of these guys. You have the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you have the college, and then you have high school.
Right.
Where I felt like there was a void, and you probably saw that as well.
Yeah, I did.
Where, and I use this example not to beat a dead horse, but there are some fascinating people that played great high school accolades and did amazing things in high school football.
Absolutely.
Maybe even their best player of all time in that state, and never made the NFL. Or never did any of those things. So I guess, for you, what I ask you is, what made you want to, obviously, this is our third annual, obviously. And it's every year we're at a few more pieces. But tell me why you're so passionate about it and why this is so important to you.
Well, the thing about it is you got high school, college, and the pros. But in order to get to those other two levels, you got to go to high school. And you have some phenomenal high school coaches that just never get their due. And you know, there's a college football Hall of Fame, pro football Hall of Fame here. It just made perfect sense to
Part of
have
it all.
and just do it. High school football, May 12th was 150 years old. You know, and you know, a lot of the players remember how they got to where they went to, and we had to have this year.
Well, if you ask players, you know, football, if it's NFL, college, the people inducting them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame,
Right.
sometimes their high school football coach, right? It's not.
Absolutely.
It's who made the biggest impact on them for the rest of their life.
And the communities, you know, tell you about the communities. A lot of these guys, from the Eric Dickinsons to the Deion Sanders, to we got the #1 high school player in the country coming tomorrow, St. John, who's at Ohio State.
Right.
High school.
Right.
So it made sense to put this together. It made perfect sense. And what it does is it just really gives high school football that credit that it needs. And the coaches.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So obviously, you now have brick and mortar downtown. You know, I work with Russell Jones.
Right.
Like I said, like working for you guys, I just see the passion that Russell puts into it.
Right.
For people that may come out tomorrow night, they may watch this, they maybe come to the ceremony,
Right.
or may not. You know, why should they get involved? You know, what for those
Well,
people or donating? I guess more
right,
important,
absolutely.
Why should somebody feel probably donate to this? Why it's so important to get to such a great place?
Absolutely. Outside of inducting these athletes, we're going to have programs, youth programs, from mental health to fitness, wellness, being able to help kids get into college, and SATs. So we want to be that second parent, you know, to help these kids.
Or sometimes they don't have parents.
Sometimes they don't have a parent, right? And they need guys that have been through it, like myself, who has been through it, to be able to help them. So, you know, a lot of times the high school coaches need help. Sure. They need outsiders.
Right.
So we felt like if we get this program, it's not just going to be about inducting players, but also the off the field things.
Right.
Just trying to help this kid be well-rounded men.
I say all the time, in our country, just not in high school, but mental health is such a huge issue.
Absolutely.
That has got a stigma to it that needs to not have a stigma to it, because these kids, if they have the right mental head, if they have their head on right and they go into it right, they can do anything in life.
They can do anything. Sometimes they just need a push.
Yeah.
You know, they just need a push. You got some phenomenal athletes. We want to be able to keep them in school. Everybody's not going to play in the NFL.
Right.
And that's the reason
Less
why.
than 2%. I mean, think about it. It's crazy.
You know, but you can get a degree, though.
Yeah.
And go on.
And by the way, you can do a lot of great things with that degree.
Yes, sir.
Because you know what the NFL stands for? Not for long.
Not for long.
You're there less. The average NFL player plays less than 4 years, and if he doesn't do his finances right, he's going to come out of the NFL and be like, "Oh crap!" Right? So you're right. These kids, if they come in, and like to your point, I think that's the biggest thing is these programs are going to be alive.
But we need people like you to continue to keep pushing it through the airwaves.
Yeah.
Coming to events like this. You know, this was just a vision and dream, and here we go.
You're part of that. You're the reason. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
And look forward to hanging out with you all weekend, and then look forward to the
All
induction
right.
tomorrow night.
All right. Take care.
You guys, Lamont was able to join us, one of the founders of the National Football High School Hall of Fame. We'll see if maybe we can get Tim Couch if he's available. He went in just an interview. See who else we can possibly grab. So, and then we'll get Tim Couch after that, if that works. So, guys, again, we are here at the National Football High School Hall of Fame in downtown Canton, Ohio. This is the third annual High School Hall of Fame. Like I said, it's such a cool endeavor. Lamont brought a good thing for these kids that don't have a good start in life and need that extra push, as he put it. Very interesting. Push in life. And these guys that just need a little help, and just, these kids that sometimes just need the extra help to just do a little bit more than they've done in the past. So again, we're just we're going to have some more interviews coming our way. If you want to attend the National Football High School Hall of Fame, It will be tomorrow at 6 o'clock at Kent McKinley High School. We're going to have another guy. So we're going to have another gentleman join us here real quick. One of the inductees here at the National Football High School Hall of Fame. Just saw Tim Couch. Tim Couch has arrived. Hanford Dixon Top Dog is running around here. But, you know, one of the things that really is interesting when we look at these athletes is some of these guys have done some of the greatest things at the actual high school level. And for them to be honored is very interesting to see how these guys are actually throughout their career, what they did in high school, and then honestly in their communities. That's probably the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway that I have taken away, that these guys have done a lot of things in their communities outside of high school, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a big deal for these guys to do things that they've never really been asked to do. So, but we're just going to, just looking for our next guest here. So hang on 1 second. We're just going to line him up here. Guys, if you are just now joining us, we again are at the National Football High School Hall of Fame in downtown Canton, Ohio. Looking forward to having some guys on. And it looks like we're going to have another gentleman right here. Looks like he's coming over. So, guys, as we wait for our next guest, like I said, we have Lamont on that was just here from the National Football High School Hall of Fame. He was one of the actual founders of that. We're looking for some other folks that are here. And we now we have our next guest. Walter?
Virgil Walker.
Virgil Walker. We were talking just a little while ago over at the bar there.
Oh, yeah.
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 So, Virgil,
Yes, sir.
being inducted
Yes, sir.
into the National Football High School Hall of Fame. What I found very unique, everybody like from Cornelius Green, all these guys have such different stories of how they came about, how high school was such a big deal to them, and how they're honored. Tell me why you're so excited to be here. Tell us what this means to you, and just tell us a little about what your thoughts have been when you found out you got the call, and what that's been like for you.
Well, when I got the call, I was amazed. I knew that I was a pretty decent football player, playing at a school that was known for basketball. But all the football players went to college basically. All the basketball players went to college on a football scholarship. They were 6'6", 6'5", 6'4". And there in my neighborhood, it was a tough neighborhood. So if you came up, you were used to competing. You despised defeat. But you had parents that were about education. So as long as you got your work, you could play. But then I had coaches that stressed education along with athletics. And we had a good blend. And we come from a school that was known as a school of champions. Jesse Owens, Harrison Dillon, and so many. Stokes brothers to succeed, to exceed at whatever you did. My mother pushed. If you're gonna do something, be the best.
My mom was the same way.
Yeah.
She was like, be great at whatever you be great at.
Great,
right?
right.
It's funny. The analogy is sometimes used. You could be the greatest garbage collector, because guess what? If they see you as the greatest garbage collector, you're not going to be driving the truck long, and then you're going to be a supervisor. Then you're going to be a regional manager. Just be great at what you do.
Be great.
By the
at
way,
what
you don't have to have all the skill sets, but just be great at what you know.
Be great. Be great at what you do. Love what you do and perform to be the greatest. So it was those types of things. You don't have to be the biggest or what, because you don't measure a man by the size of his body, but by the size of his heart and determination.
Yeah, there's a saying. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the fight of the dog.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
So people that haven't heard from you in a while. Where do you reside? Where do you live now? And what are you doing now? Like what I know we talked a little earlier. Retired.
Right.
But what makes you tick now? What do you do?
What makes me tick? Well, number one, God hasn't called my number yet. So I live with a purpose. My purpose is to help those who need help, to share this education that I have with those that deserve to be taught, to find people, and it doesn't matter who, that just want to learn. Either I can teach them or I can tell them where to go to be taught.
One of the things I picked up in the 5-minute conversation was that I can tell you're a natural teacher. I think everybody has something they're just really great at, right? You come across me as just a natural teacher. Let me teach you. Let me show you the way, and you can be great. I feel like you've done it.
Well, I've done that because it was done for me. The thing is, when you're looking for something, the first thing you have to do is to look inside of yourself. That which you're looking for is inside of yourself. All you have to do is wake up that spirit inside of you and ask, and it shall be told.
I feel like we can get that started.
That's right. But so many spirits haven't been awakened.
We're talking with Lamont, and why he started. He brought up something, and I think since you're a natural teacher, he said a lot of these kids just need that push. And he goes, a lot of these kids, they need that father figure that maybe they don't have. They just need that extra conditioning and that confidence they just don't have. Because there's been that for these kids can be the greatest. You're great extra football. You're great somewhere you make great. That's the great. That's right. Provide
for yourself. Be able to learn how others did it. Surround yourself by successful people. If you surround yourself by 4 successful people and you watch them, you will be the 5th successful person.
You are the company you keep.
That's right. You are the company that you keep.
Yes. I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to come over here, say hello to us, hanging out with the.
Well, I look forward also, and this is a beautiful thing. I enjoyed the questions. Getting all different kinds, but this is a beautiful assembly of people from all walks of life, and the questions and everything, and questions and answers and everything that you receive. This is beautiful.
I always say, always keep
it going, never let it
keep
stop.
it healthy. The mind's always working. You're always going to be doing great things.
Right.
I appreciate you.
My
Thank you for
pleasure.
coming by,
My
Bob.
pleasure.
And I appreciate it. With you.
Oh yeah, we will. Thank you.
You want to? All right. So, guys, we're going to have Tim Couch is going to be joining us here momentarily. He's been wandering around, so we're going to try to grab him. Cornelius Green was just walking by. Great gentleman, former quarterback of the Ohio State Buckeyes. One of the things that I find very interesting about this is he's right. Everybody that's here tonight has a very different story. To tell in regards to who they are and where they've came from. A lot of these guys, their life is so different. Some never played high school football, never played NFL football or college football, but did great things at the actual high school level. And so it is interesting as we sit here and talk about the National Football High School Hall of Fame. We are downtown Canton, Ohio at the 3rd annual National Football High School Hall of Fame. And if you can get a chance to come to this, you definitely could. We want to give a couple shout outs to some of our sponsors while we have a chance. True Fan Travel, guys. If you haven't gone to True Fan Travel, they are the official partner of the Cleveland Browns, and we're going to be going to London, and we're going to go to wonderful games in Detroit and Las Vegas. So if you get a chance, go with True Fan Travel. Another great partner is City Barbecue, by the way, guys. City Barbecue has 6 Northeast Ohio locations. They have been gracious enough to feed our athletes this weekend when we did the kids camp, and we also did the other events that we'll be doing tomorrow. By the way, if you can make it tomorrow to the Belden Village to the autograph session from 12 to 1, that'll be a really great thing to be able to participate in and be able to do. If you guys can make that, that's at the Belden Village tomorrow from noon to 1. We're just waiting to have another guest come up here real quick. Let's give another couple shout outs to some of our sponsors. That's our good friends over at Stadium Mustard. If you don't have it in your kitchen, you're doing it wrong. The iconic classic Stadium Mustard. Enjoy from ballparks and beyond. Go to stadiummustard.com to check them out and get some amazing barbecue. By the way, guys, if you're in downtown Cleveland and you're looking for something fun to do, go visit Lady Caroline. That's right, the cruise ship that takes out of the Cuyahoga and goes to Lake Erie. It's an amazing ship. We're actually going to do a Here We Go Brownies cruise this summer, and to have some amazing people go on that cruise with us and have some fun and do some amazing stuff. But it looks like we have another interview coming over here. Just looking to see if we have another interview. Do we have another interview? Okay. So we're just waiting on a couple other interviews, guys. But by the way, if you get a chance, definitely come to the ceremony tomorrow. You'll get to see some great players. By the way, some of the other inductees are going to be showing up as well tomorrow to the event. A couple more quick shout outs to some of our sponsors. We Bleed Ohio. These guys are the official Here We Go Brownies apparel that we do make, which is super cool. We Bleed Ohio. But they have some very cool basketball, football, and baseball themed Cleveland teams of some amazing stuff that you can get. So we can do that, and you guys can take in that. But go check them out at We Bleed Ohio. By the way, our great fun partners over at Lake Erie Distillery, that is in Willoughby, Ohio. If you haven't tried it, they have an amazing assortment of amazing whiskeys, including the Burning River Cinnamon Whiskey. So come enjoy them and check them out. Yes, and looks like we're going to have Ben Harris come over here. He's going to be our next interview. So he's going to come on over here. So again, another inductee, Ben Harris, is going to be inducted into the National Football High School Hall of Fame. He's going to come join us here. Hello, sir. How are you? I am doing great.
Cleveland Browns.
Yes, sir.
Great organization.
Make sure we get that seat. So, guys, Ben Harris is coming over to join us. Ben, different themes. The one thing that I'm picking up on, everybody has such different backgrounds where these guys are coming from. So I think it's very cool and interesting that everybody's very unique, right? Not everybody's the same. Everybody has a different story. Tell me what your thought was when you got the call and to be a part of this and be a part of this weekend. What does it mean to you?
Well, I was shocked because I feel like I didn't deserve it. It's a blessing, So it's a great honor. It's a great honor. And I'm real grateful. Like I said, I'm real grateful. And I'm blessed to be here.
So people to tell you a little bit about your background. Tell them, who Ben is, and, her background, where you grew up.
I grew up in Mobile. Alabama. I finished high school from Tonville High School. I earned a scholarship at Alabama State University. Played quarterback there. I just got inducted to Alabama State University Hall of Fame last year. Then I started coaching, but before I started coaching, I played semi-pro ball. Then I played for the West Virginia Rockets for a while. And then I also played for the Pensacola Wings. Then after that, I started coaching.
How long did you coach for?
I coached all together about over 30 years.
30 years. So, kids, right? We were talking about, Lamont was on here and why he wanted to start the National Football Hall of Fame. I feel like you're a natural teacher, right? You're very passionate. You brought up one of the reasons this was so important to do this. Sometimes those kids just need that little extra push. And, a lot of these kids, they ain't going to play high school. I mean, they ain't going to play college ball. They ain't going to play NFL. But they can be great men and great leaders, and they get that at the school level to be able to go to college, earn a degree, provide for the family, and all that. So, like, what that's meant to you, because I mean, you've seen a lot of different kids in those 30 years, and I guarantee you, you were the reason the kid went this way or that way. If that makes sense. Tell me what that means to you.
Well, one of the things I was trying to do to be what I'm trying to do is make a difference. I carry them to different colleges and universities so they can see things outside their neighborhood that might motivate them to do good. And we started taking them to church. Then we started down on project report. We took that serious about kids and we had study hall. So you got to be concerned about the kid more than just on the football field. We did that. Then with me, I ride around the neighborhood, talk to them, get them off the street. So, it's always easy to look down, but you got to try to find a doggone solution to help these young kids. So I'm proud of all my kids. I coach a lot of them. As a matter of fact, one of my former players here tonight is doing the video. Where he want to come up here and video.
Who's that?
One of my former players, AJ Crenshaw. Then I got Sherman Williams here, who also played at Alabama. And then Sid Rapp there, Damon Craig coming. Then I got some more former players, Charles Johnson. And then also one of my receivers played for the Cleveland Browns, Terry Greer. He coming tomorrow. And then also I'm from the same place where I'm from Dixon.
So you're one of the top players.
And then also Tyrone Rogers, I coached at Alabama State. He played 4 or 5 years for the Cleveland Browns.
I know you get along great with Hanford because he always tells me roll tide every time.
Right.
He's a big Alabama.
Right.
So you have family, obviously.
Oh yeah, my wife been very supportive. She supported me and the kids. I have 3 daughters, and like I said, I had no idea I was coming to Blunt, just trying to make a difference. Hopefully we can win a couple games. I didn't know we was gonna keep going to state championship. I tell people, the kid, if you give love out, it'll come back.
Yeah, I think it's reciprocal.
Right.
The fruit that you bear.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Come back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, over 30 years, is there any players or people that went on to play in college and became great or in the NFL that you coached that someone would know?
Well, I coach Damon Craig. He played at Auburn. He went to the Carolina Panthers. Coach Sherman Williams. He went to the Dallas Cowboys. Got a Super Bowl ring. I coached Kendrick Rogers. He played for the Arizona Cardinals for a while. Alonzo Johnson played for Central State University.
Right.
HBCU. He played in the Senior Bowl. He had a shot at pros. I had a few guys to get the opportunity.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, I'm excited. Obviously, I'm going to be around all weekend. I'll be at the ceremony. But it's just an honor to get everybody's different stories and perspectives from coaches to players and all the different. And like I said, I see great things with the National Football High School Hall of Fame in the future.
Yes, I also met one of the coaches that doing this. That's a great honor. It's a great honor to meet you.
Yeah. I appreciate you and I look forward to talking to you more this weekend. And thank you, sir. Well, I think we're going to Tim Couch. Yeah, once he gets out. I would just Just when he's done, just bring it. So, guys, we are here at the the National Football High School Hall of Fame here in downtown Canton, Ohio. For anybody, this is a great event. You know, if you guys can make it out, and especially these guys, what they're trying to do for student athletes and these kids and get them on the right track in life, it's a very big deal. And so we're going to, look at, and dig into where, the programs and stuff that they're doing. And we'll have some of these conversations about some of these kids programs, that we're doing as far as for these kids, getting them a leg up in life and where we can do some great things for these kids, not only locally, but nationally for the programs that they're going to participate in. One of the things that I really enjoyed and loved was being a part of the kids camp that they put on today for nearly 200 kids that got to do a free camp to be with Snow Mitchell today and also Hanford Dixon. So that was very interesting and unique to watch these children take and partake in what they were doing as far as the unique things and wonderful things for these kids that may have not had an opportunity to do these wonderful things. By the way, guys, if you can't make it to the induction ceremony and you are in the greater Cleveland area, Tim Couch will be here tomorrow along with these other inductees. Hanford Dixon and some of these guys will all be at the Belden Village Mall and doing an autograph session from 12 to 1, which is going to be really awesome to see these guys and do some amazing people. That's right, our friends and sponsors over at Primetime Sports. They will be there tomorrow from noon to 1 doing the autograph signing with these guys. Also, Primetime Sports guys will also be in Hartville tomorrow with national champion Will Howard. We'll be back in Hartville, Ohio, just about 10, 15 minutes from here. He'll be doing autographs from 4 to 5. So if you guys can make it out to have Will Howard sign some stuff tomorrow, which will be really great. And then also we'll have, of course, 12 to 1, Hanford, Tim Couch, and a lot of these other inductees, Cornelius Green. These guys are all going to be able to participate in this event. So, guys, like I said, the one thing that I took away and have been taking away from this event is these kids are, you can just tell the passion from these coaches to these players and how important this is to these high school kids and what they want to do for high school kids and to better their communities at the end of the day. So the mission statement for the National Football High School Hall of Fame at the end of the day is to better these kids, better their communities, and just make them better men in the community. So that's the one thing that I have taken away from this last year and this year is just to make these kids just better men at the end of the day and what they want to be in their communities and what they're trying to do as individuals. So we're just waiting here momentarily for Tim Couch. He's going to come join us. One of the guys is going to go grab him, and we'll get him over here. But guys, again, if you can make it tomorrow, the National Football High School Hall of Fame at Canton McKinley High School in downtown or in Canton, the induction ceremony will be from 6 to 7. And then, of course, we will have the autograph session from 12 to 1 tomorrow with these guys. By the way, all the proceeds go back to the National Football High School Hall of Fame. So that's the really cool thing is where these things and how these things are going to go for these guys. It's going to be just an amazing weekend. Like I said, we have the camp today with the kids that were able to participate in this. And then, of course, we have the autograph signing that'll be tomorrow from 12 to 1 at the Belden Village. And then, of course, the induction ceremony, which will be from 6 to 7. And then after that, they'll have the breakfast in the morning in downtown Canton, where you guys can have breakfast with these guys and really partake and enjoy in the festivities. So, guys, if you get a chance, I can't stress it enough. This is the third year they're trying to make this a bigger and bigger event. and get it off the ground. But it's been great. It's been really great with they've been doing for these players in the community. And like we said before, this is a big deal. It's a really big deal. As you know, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is here. And now that we have the National High School Football Hall of Fame here, it's really an honor to watch these high school coaches, these high school players. You know, some played just in high school, some played in college, some played at the pro level. But just to have an opportunity with these guys and get them to do this has been amazing to watch and participate in. But you know, it's been very cool. Guy, can you see how close he is? Can you just have can one of you stand there and just see how close he is to be in there?
Open the door and they look at me like a
But you know, drop some comments. You know, if you guys have any questions about some of these athletes and some of these guys that are being inducted. If you have any questions about what the National Football High School Hall of Fame, what it's about, I really appreciate the comments from. It looks like our friend Clyde Goldstein. This is so informational. Yeah, it is. What this means to these guys and what it means to these people, to these guys, and what it means to their community. But we have our next guest. He's going to come over here. Who do we have? Bob? Bob Siva. How are you, sir? How are you? Are you having fun?
I couldn't have better.
All right. Hey, you might be the best dressed. I mean, look at. I mean, you look dapper. I love it.
Didn't know what the dress code was, so
Well-
I just came.
Well, it's better to be overdressed than underdressed, right? That's always that's a fair statement, right?
I told my wife I can always take my tie off.
There you go. So, you know, you've got to mingle with some of these guys.
Yeah.
What I find very interesting, you all come from different backgrounds, and you all have different ways you came to be inducted. For people that may not know who you are or you know where you came from, why you're so passionate. First, what was it like getting the call? You know that that this was happening, and then second, you know, tell us, you know why you're so excited and what this means to you. I guess at the end of the day.
The thing that really caught me was why me?
You know, it's funny. I've heard that from a couple other guys. Why me?
Well, I played in 1950, 51, 52. Hell, those records are burned up. You know, I figured they did something to dig me out of the woodwork. But I was tickled to death, you know, to get the call. My remembrance has to run very high with my high school playing days because I busted both of my knees up and tore all the covering in my right leg.
Whoa.
So that finished my football career.
You weren't going to college or pros. You were done.
I went.
Your body took as much as it possibly could.
It did, and I went to Bowling Green, and right now I'm probably one of the biggest fans at Bowling Green State University.
Is it because of the new head coach?
What's that?
Is it because of the new head coach?
Oh my God, tickled the crap out of me. Boy, he's a big man, though. I want to tell you.
Well, I tell you what, he was here last year.
Yeah.
He got inducted.
Yeah.
As the second class. And when I stand next to him, I'm like, I know the guy would want to get hit with you running the ball. And I'm like, you're big. Like, you look like you could play linebacker or defensive end. I'm like, I can imagine what it was like getting hit by you in the pros.
Unbelievable. His one leg is bigger than two of mine put together. And you know what? He's personable. He's pleasant. He's a genuine good guy. And I am so tickled that he's at Bowling Green. I just, we've rung the bell. We not only have one of the best football coaches now in the country, but we certainly have the best basketball coach, Todd Simon.
Yep.
We stole him away from Utah.
Yep.
And he's going to, I'm telling you, the next 5 years for Bowling Green State University, football, basketball, it's going to be unbelievable.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because
I'm originally from Idaho, so Boise State. So I think, the Bowling Greens and the Boise States.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They have to kind of like, they're like the little dog. You got to punch back a little bit,
Right.
to show your worth and punch a little outside your weight class, right? And so I always root for the underdog guys because I'm like, you know what? When I see guys like that make it, that makes me happy. And you're right, because of who he is, that being Eddie. He's going to be a great recruiter of great men, more than anything.
He's a great man. He's going to be a great recruiter because his name is a draw. What young football player wouldn't like to play for Eddie George? Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
If I'm a running back, I want to go learn from that guy.
yeah,
When I watch his film, I want to be what he did. Right.
Absolutely. Getting him was a coup for Bowling Green, I think.
So the people who don't know about you, where did you play your high school career? Where do you reside there?
I played at Salem High School in Salem, Ohio.
Right.
I had a great high school career. In my senior year, after 3-4 games, I was on the way to a 2,000-yard year, blew my leg out. So typical of what screws up many young athletes. That did me in till the next to last game. I came back. I wasn't at full speed. I played against my friend Lou Holtz, who was a 137. Yeah, Lou was a 137-pound tackle at East Liverpool, Ohio.
Great story.
Oh, and the only thing Holtz loves this: we beat them 13-2, and I scored their 2 points because my leg, I wasn't full speed. They caught me in the end zone. So Holtz busts my chops on it every time he gets a chance. Yeah.
Because I'm responsible for those 2 points. I got you. You might have beat us, but I got you.
That's what he and
That is hilarious.
anytime I'm anywhere where he makes a speech, he brings it up.
He's like, I got you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What a great story.
Yeah.
So obviously still live in Ohio.
Yes, I do.
I tell people I just moved here 16 months ago from Idaho. So I love it. I tell people
I came to Boise for the Bowling Green game when we played Idaho out there.
in the Potato Bowl.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
It was out. I flew in there. My God, I didn't know that it was in the middle of nowhere. But when I left and the flight, it was over desolate country. It seemed like for an hour before we got back to civilization.
So here's the crazy. So Boise's blew up now. It's everybody hates California.
Right.
So this is the interesting thing because I grew up in Maryland. Boise is the most urban, isolated city in the country.
I would imagine that.
So what that means is like Salt Lake, Spy Village, or
Yeah.
Portland, but it is the most isolated urban area in all of America. But you're right, it is like this gem of a place that they call it an oasis.
Yes.
And they got a magic carpet there called the Blue Turf. No team likes to go there, but it's a unique experience.
Playing on that carpet there is an experience.
Yes, well, it's like it's funny that people say like what are the most 10 recognizable football fields in the country, and that's always one of them. Like when you say Blue Turf, they know it's what they call Smurf turf or whatever. But that's cool. So my question is, when you went to the Bowling Green, did they win?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So I'm assuming they beat a Mount West or Wax.
It was like within 6 points or something like that. Yeah. What's that?
Do you remember who they played?
When
No, who they played? Who was the opponent? Bowling Green.
they played Boise State at Boise.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, in the season, but not the bowl game. You're saying?
It was the bowl game.
Oh,
Yes, and that's who they played in the bowl game.
So we
No,
barely.
they played Idaho.
Oh, the Vandals.
That's
the
who.
Vandals.
That's who.
Because I was like, I don't think we've ever lost a bowl game there.
Yeah. No.
I was like, but yeah, we hate the Vandals. So
Yeah.
That's great. You can
beat up on them
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
That was our rival for years until
we went to Division One. They came up to Division One. They went back down. A lot of schools again, like those that can't, the haves and the have-nots. It's a challenge for these
Yeah.
schools because they don't have the
Yeah.
budgets.
Well,
The scholarships.
I've had all the luck relative to my two favorite football places. At my high school back in Salem, the stadium is named after me, Salem
Oh.
SEMO Stadium.
How great is
Yeah.
that? That's an honor. Right?
And at Bowling Green State University, in the end zone, is the SEMO Athletic Center. So that's, I've had all the, as somebody else said, I've had all the namings I need in my lifetime. I'm happier than a pig in shit.
I love it. But I mean, it's almost like we were talking about this, the circle of life. And it is very interesting how we come full circle in life. Like you said, I was on the stadium, whatever, but I never thought I'd be honored for what I did in high school, right? Like, it's very interesting. But you're right. What you did in high school was phenomenal for what you did. And we were talking about, and it is interesting that you say that, because what I find interesting is we talk about a lot of these kids, no matter what state they're from, can have a phenomenal high school career, maybe the best of that state.
Oh, yeah.
And never play college football,
Right.
never go to the NFL level, because they just, for whatever reason. And there's been like this very kind of gap where we're not honoring those high school athletes that, had an amazing high school and did great things in their community, went to college, got a good job, and provided for the family. Like, we should honor those folks as too.
Yeah.
And I had Lamont on here, and he said a lot of these kids just need that little extra push to just send them in the right versus the wrong direction.
Gotcha.
And the whole idea of building more programs with this National Football High School Hall of Fame to make it into these kids so they have a purpose, and stuff in life. And I think it's very interesting.
Well, it left me with a lifetime challenge. Okay, I had a hard time my first year of college because I couldn't play. I was done, and it was very upsetting. I struggled my freshman year because I didn't really care. So it took me.
There was a void, right? Like everything in high school, you just was about football.
Stop.
Right.
Done. My life was,
Interesting.
so to speak, over.
So you're a living testament to that.
Oh yeah,
But because your legs were done. Like, I wasn't going to do any of that.
it took me to my sophomore years to wake up, and then I went.
What'd you major in? I'm just curious.
I majored in business administration.
Business management.
Yeah. And I've had a fairly successful business career. I fortunately was in Rochester, New York, and I teamed up with a good friend who was the brains of our company. He came up with this fantastic idea, and I helped him put it together and make it work. And it was a company called Paychecks. And
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, so I know what Paychecks is.
yeah.
A lot of companies use it.
Yes.
I worked for Fortune 500 companies that use Paychecks.
Do you? Yeah.
I mean, like Albertsons. I remember, like, Albertsons Corporation, like, a lot of them. So, wow, that is interesting. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I'm learning the business side of it, which is great.
Yeah. No, I just had a great career. The nice thing is, you always hear the story about friends going in business and they end up not being friends. He and I are as close buddies and good as friends as we were 40 years ago.
So you sold the company?
No, I'm still have a lot of stock.
So you're still making sure that Paychecks does
Yeah.
quite well.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: not about the National Football High School Hall of Fame, but technology in our day and age. We can sit in front of a computer and talk on this. We have phones that we can FaceTime our friends or family members. Paychecks.
Yeah.
You've had to deal with technology advances. What kind of challenges is like for your company? I think that's interesting.
Well,
that's the thing.
I always approach technology from a business standpoint. Quite frankly, I'm totally illiterate relative to anything that is electronic. Okay, but I've got great management skills, So I know how.
You know how to manage people.
Yeah, and yes, and that's I know what it's going to take to go in. I know how long it takes to do something, and I can manage it from that basis. I didn't have to be an expert in a PC.
I think the best CEOs and the best presidents of companies in the world give the credit to their team. And what I mean by that is, I'm good at this, but I'm not good if I don't have a great team with me. And I think that you're spot on to that. Like, I'm good at managing people and finding good people, but if I don't have great people, we all fail. And if I have great people, we'll succeed.
That's the key. Great people is absolutely right on the top. You do that, and your job is a piece of cake.
Right.
And I loved every minute that I had with the company.
I love that you're still involved in the company, by the way.
I'm involved from the standpoint I know everybody. I can talk to them when I want, but I don't have any input, and I don't want any input.
I have a friend that a year ago, if he watches this, he'll know who it is. He's 64 years old. He ran a railroad in this railroad company in Ohio for 25 years. His daughter took over the business, and he still wants to have a say. And they're kind of like, Dad, you're good. And it's tough. You know what I'm saying? It really is tough. Because you'll see something like, nope, that's not my lane, right? Like, I got to stay out of that lane. I really want to say something, but that's why I heard great people, right? Like, that's that whole thing.
Yep.
And it is hard to pull yourself away from it sometimes, because he was like, if I say something, it's not, then I'm not letting them do what they like. So that's why I stepped back. Right.
The day I retired, my biggest concern was what was it going to be like, my life. It was like stepping off a speeding train onto a platform. And I thought, boy, this is not going to be good. I'll tell you how long it took me one day. Honest to God, I flipped my life just like that. And I love what I'm doing. And the nice thing is I can bite off what I can chew. I don't have any need for anything. I don't want anything. I don't need anything. I just want to suck in whatever knowledge I can. And my biggest thrill is getting to meet people and to know people.
I can tell you're a people person.
I just love it. And
You're like me. We're extroverts. I can go talk to a stranger in the coffee shop or whoever, right? And strike up that conversation, because I think people are people or they're not, right? And if you're
the thing that interests me and what's high on my list of things to do this winter in Florida, a fella that is a friend of mine who I've known for quite some time is Donald Trump's right hand, and he's going to make me an opportunity. I don't need anything from Trump. I don't want it. I just want to talk to him. I want to know.
5 minutes to just shoot the shit with him.
Yeah.
Right, let's just call it what it is.
Yes. See what kind of guy.
They just say, hey, you might have heard of a company called Paychecks.
Yeah.
I want to, you're a business guy, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk shop.
Yeah.
You want to talk shop with him.
Yeah.
Not world peace.
Yeah.
You want to just talk shop.
Yeah. And I like to talk to people. I want to know where they're coming from and what they really think.
I feel like if you're sitting next to a guy, you can read the room pretty quick.
I do. It's great. Oh yeah. God bless you. Thank you.
I can tell. Like, we're that way. Like, he's one of my guys, or he's not my guy, right? Like, you
good.
can tell.
Where do you work out of?
So I do the Here We Go Brownies podcast, which is a Browns podcast, and then I work for, you probably heard of 92.3 The Fan.
Who is it?
92.3 The Fan, the Browns radio network.
Yes.
So I do sales and marketing.
Okay.
That's my full-time gig. So I do that. And the podcast is my fun passion that I do to meet awesome people like you. And so my co-host, Allie, women are some of the smartest people in the world, as I like to say. So I call her the brains and the best part of the show.
Yes.
But we have a lot of fun.
Oh,
We
good.
do it. She's amazing. And we've done it for 5 years, if you can imagine that.
You're kidding.
And we got voted Cleveland's favorite sports podcast last year. Nuts.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So are you a Browns fan?
I am a Browns fan since 1946. Okay.
So let me ask you this: Were you a Cleveland Rams fan?
Cleveland Browns, Otto Graham, Max Speedy, Dante Lavelli.
were you a Rams fan?
A what?
A Rams fan before they became the Cleveland Rams.
I was only 9 years old.
Oh, okay, fair.
So
when the Browns came, that was your thing. Like,
yes,
it was a new team.
yeah. So no, the Browns have been my team since day one.
Well,
I lived in Rochester, New York, so I got to be a Buffalo Bills fan,
Okay.
and I got to know some of the key people at the Bills, and that. So I was somewhat personally involved with the Bills, but
nice.
but the Browns are still my main team.
So I'll leave you on this one. What do you think about the
quarterback? What do you want to be the quarterback?
I'm going to tell you.
It's a tough question.
I have to let that go. I don't want anything I say to come back to bite me because I don't know. I'm not impressed, but I'm open.
You're optimistic.
I'm optimistic, and that's where I come from. But I love the Browns.
I love it. I appreciate you coming on. I learned
Thank
a lot
you.
about you today, and I think it's an honor. Well, I'd love to have you on again sometime to talk.
I'd
just
love
talk
to do
shop
it.
about
I
other things.
talk about whatever you want to talk about. I love it. Good
Well, hey,
deal. All
I'll be
right.
here all week and look forward
Thank
to it.
you. Uh-huh.
So it looks like we're going to have Tim Couch on. Obviously, you guys know we had him on last Wednesday on the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I feel like I just talked.
I know, right? Let's do it again.
So, I feel like you're Mr. Kentucky.
So we can shift gears tonight versus
We'll talk a little bit about the Browns, obviously. But I feel like when we look at the National Football Baseball Hall of Fame and what it means to, I was just talking, like, a lot of people don't get to live a life for 10 Coach did. They have a great high school career, maybe the best that they are in their state. They don't play at the college level at the NFL level, or even get that chance or even get that luck. First and foremost, Tim, what does it mean for you to be honored in the National Football High School Hall of Fame and come back to Ohio and take in this honor?
It's a humbling experience. It really is. I think you just have to take a look at the list of fellow inductees, and I'm going to this class where they realize it's a special day. This is some of the greats of the game, all-time greats. And so I'm honored to be going in with these guys. It's a great feeling. It's a humbling experience. I'm thrilled to be back in Northeast Ohio. I really loved my time in Cleveland. It was very special. I love the people of Cleveland. I love the fan base. So it's always great to get a chance to come back here. It's a special weekend, and I'm really looking forward to celebrating with a lot of great inductees.
You bring up an interesting thing. Ohio's pretty passionate about a lot of things. They love their college football. They love their pro football. They love their high school football here. I mean, some of the greatest high school football players have come out of the state of Ohio. You got to be decorated in Kentucky at every level. Let's talk about that for a moment. The fans, like the Browns, they have a lot of support, right? They've been chasing that since the days of Bernie Kosar. I mean, this is beyond this. And I've gotten to know Bernie personally, and I'm sure you've met Bernie and have a special relationship with him because you're in a different club, right? Like I said, there's the Presidents of the United States. That's a very exclusive club.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks, it's an exclusive club. Right?
It
And
is.
then if you're the starting quarterback of the team, it's even more of an exclusive club. Like, we've all been through the same with fans. And this is it's an interesting question. I got to witness something very unique this year. And I think there's parts of fanship and fanism. We got booed, and I felt for you as a fan of the team that I love and came back. And Deshaun, got booed, and I bet you that really resonated with you when you heard and saw that. Fans can be the biggest cheerleaders, but at the end of the day, they love you, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've had enough years pass, when that's in the past. But about the Browns, because I'm not going to say I'm biased, but I can't think of a more passionate fan. It's been the Bills director. I can think of some, but I can't think of another. They're there for 0-16. You know what I mean? Or if they're 14-3, right? Tell me what your uniqueness was like to like, be a part of it, because I think it's a very. I don't think other fan bases can understand it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's if not the most passionate fan base in the league. They're up there, and especially during that time when I was playing here, because they'd lost their team for 3 years. They were out of the league, so we're kind
Angry too.
of angry. Yes, the team was pulled away from them in the middle of the night. So when we came back in the league in 1999, they were even more passionate because they hadn't had a team for 3 years. So
They had all that.
it was built up. Yeah, I mean they were so excited, and it was such a cool experience to be able to play in that environment for such a passionate fan base. And but I think that was the thing that happened with the booing. I think part of the fan base maybe expected us to kind of pick up where Bernie and the other guys left off, going to AFC Championship games.
Unfortunately, there was a thing called the supplemental draft.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, when you look back, it's unfair in so many ways what they did to the Browns. And that
Absolutely.
we'll give you our leftovers, basically. Have
Exactly.
a good time.
Yeah, that's what it was. So, and I understand the disappointment because, Bernie and those guys were having unbelievable seasons and right on the verge of going to the Super Bowl. So we come back as a expansion team and, we're getting kicked around the league, pretty bad. And so the fan base was down. But, that year that happened where I got booed, that was the year we went to the playoffs.
Right.
So it just,
but that just goes to show you, like,
right.
Even when we're here,
Yeah.
that happens. And I remember that interview. You were like, I mean, you could see it emotionally. It's interesting. There was somebody that mentioned, like, you had tears in your eyes in your locker. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
it physically moved you as a human being. Like,
it did.
Because you have a lot of pride, right?
I had a lot of pride, and I loved playing it. I loved the fan base, and I'm like, I just felt bad in that moment because I was like, hey, I'm the guy that helped get this franchise back, and I got the hell beat out of me, for 2 years.
Did you see my offensive line?
Yeah, I got sacked 56 times my rookie year, which was at the time was the NFL record until David Carr broke it on an expansion team a couple years later.
You're like, oh.
Yeah, it must be something to this expansion deal, right? So, but that year we were having a really good year. We're on the verge to make the playoffs, and I was having a bad game. I get it. Like, fans have every right to boo. That is their right. And I think it's just it's an emotional game.
Yeah.
And I actually got knocked out in that game earlier.
Yeah.
So I probably shouldn't have spoken to the media afterwards. Probably should have taken a day to cool off. I would have said something.
But you spoke from the heart.
I spoke from the heart. And,
Right.
and
I will say, there should never be a problem speaking.
Right. Yeah.
It comes to a good place. Right?
Yeah. It was all emotional. I think fan base was emotional that night. I was emotional, but we recovered from it. Ended up making a run to the playoffs that year. So I don't think it was. I didn't take it. In the long run, I didn't take it as anything personal. It was just like, hey, you're having a bad game. We're playing the Ravens, and we want to win this game. It's Sunday Night Football. I'm like,
This is the city that's scored our team.
exactly. Like, get it together. It's a big match. Like, we want to win. And I get it. I get it. It's part of playing the position. So it was one of the lower points in my career, but like I said, there were so many great memories that kind of outweigh that that I certainly remember from the time. Oh, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that.
For people that don't know Tim Council now, kind of tell people, and I'm sure this organization, tell people a little bit what you've been up to, like, your passion.
I just I got into I went into broadcasting after in the NFL. I appreciate that. I love it. I did. Yeah, Brady does a great job. So I did the SEC stuff for about 6 or 7 years. I did studio show, and I was doing the games as well on the weekends. So when I got out of that, I got into the business world. My brother and I started a financial firm. And it's called Meridian Wealth Management. We've gotten into other different types of investments through that. We own a bourbon company now in Kentucky called Limestone Farms, which we've had for a couple of years. And we've got everything invested from car washes, 14 car washes. So, I mean, a little bit of everything. We've got entrepreneur, investor, entrepreneur. It's kind of what I've been doing. I do. Yeah. I got a couple of athletes. My oldest son's playing college football at the Holy Cross in the Boston area in the Patriot League. So he's doing well. He redshirted his first year last year. And then my youngest son, he will be an upcoming sophomore this year. He's a wide receiver, defensive back. Going to be a good player. I think he'll have a chance to play at the next level as well. So, yeah, I'm really proud of my boys. staying busy in the business world, playing a lot of golf, traveling, you know, all that kind of stuff.
It's a lot of offense.
It is.
And we just saw that. I was wondering,
That's an interesting question. Yeah, it really is. I hadn't thought about that. But, you know, I think the way the money is today, that I think it makes you make different decisions. You know, you look at other places, you know, and so yeah, I don't know what. You know, I would have liked to have been in the NIL era. I think maybe I'd have to take a pay cut and go to the NFL. Same thing. How about the industry in Texas? He was scheduled to make like $8 million if he transferred to Notre Dame. I think wherever he was going to this year, now he'll make $800,000. Seventh round pick. So
obviously, we're here at the next when we look at this, programs is going to build for these kids and get them on the right track. It's going to be great. What makes you so proud of this? What would you say to previous class? You said you look at this list. I was on top of the what does it mean to be there with these guys?
it's special. You know, it really is. And, you know, anytime you're getting inducted into a Hall of Fame, it's truly humbling. You know, I was fortunate enough to go into the College Football Hall of Fame last year in the 24 class. So this year to go into the High School Hall of Fame, it's just, you know, I think anytime as an athlete that you appreciate the free career, it means so much to you because you dedicated your whole life to this. You know, from the time you were a kid all the way through, it's like every day training, working out, working on your craft, throwing balls, you know, recovering from injuries, you know, whatever it is, you've put your whole life work into this deal. So people come back and say, you know what, we appreciate you so much for what you did, and you're going into this Hall of Fame. It's truly humbling. It's a unique experience.
And like, what do you want to take part in it? It's just
Show up and play the game. Yeah.
I get done that day, and I'm like,
It's probably 2 hours of rehab, 2 hours of working out. Yeah. Yeah. That's the job.
To keep his body in the best shape to be. But I don't think the veterans fan understands that sometimes.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think, you know, you've heard so many stories, and certainly this happened to me, is when your career's over, who are you at the end of the day? Because all you know is I'm this athlete and you're on such a schedule. You're right. Your whole day is planned for you every day. 7 a.m. you're going to your meals, workouts, you know, rehab, training, on the field work. Like your whole day is so structured. You're going off this schedule every day, and then when that's gone, you're like, what do I do now? You know. And I think all athletes have that. They have such a tough time transitioning from when their career's over into what do they do next. I had a 3 or 4 year period there where I was just trying to figure it out, like trying to figure out life, like what do I do next? You know, I'm a young guy, right? Because you know your career's over, whatever it is, 30, 35, 40, whatever. You know, you're blessed to play to 40. It's unbelievable, but you still got a long life ahead of you. You know. That's right. Amazing.
It's just the truth. Some guys, Tom Brady's the world like
so rare to have a career like that.
James, spends millions of dollars to be able to step play that kind of stuff because that's his job.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure having you. It's a pleasure having you on the Wednesday.
Yeah,
I'm sure to get the autograph session.
Yes, I'll do that.
Always a pleasure. Look forward to having you on again.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll do it anytime. Please let me know. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, guys. So we're going to probably wrap it up here, but we'll keep the cameras rolling. But we're going to try to get some other guys. But everybody, thanks for joining. Had Tim Couch on. That was a great interview. And we will talk soon. Go Browns.